Yeah, the first part was something I remember just kind of, that was one that I wrote a lot of the bass parts and stuff. It was something I remember just four-tracking and putting together. And yeah, and lyrically, Untrustable. You know, it's one of the few songs that kind of is like sticks to one subject through the whole song, kind of. We're talking about a person and just how flawed people are, I guess. You know, myself, maybe other people, but yeah, it's just about people. I mean, I wasn't, you know, nothing serious about myself. just people, just the way that people are, you know, just the limitations to our humanity or something. The chorus of Untrustable is like JD Salinger, Franny and Zoe story, where they just, then that's like sort of the ending of the story where Franny tells Zoe that the person that she was performing for, is God. And it's not a religious thing. It's just like God is in, you know, what matters, who matters. I think the second one, I can't remember how they got connected, but yeah, the second part of it is like the less interesting song. Maybe even something we just sort of saw if it would work, tried it to see if it would work. It's like a really untypical song for me to write, because usually my thing with writing songs was about coming up with sort of an original kind of chord progression or melody or whatever. And to me, the second part of that song is real conventional. Like it's like a blues thing, I think. It's like a, 1-4-5 chord progression type of thing. But I don't remember what I liked about it or why I thought it was a good idea. And I like it fine, but it just seems so foreign to how I usually make music or what I like about music. For some reason, it was satisfying in that song to me. That was more about my wife and just like struggles with being like too compassionate. It's like, why can't you apathize with Jesus' point of view? Like, why can't you be less compassionate, and just kind of let some things go? Why do things affect you so intensely? That's what that song is kind of about, like her just suffering because she has too much compassion and love for people. I think I'm also compassionate, but I wouldn't let compassion like control me in that way. I wouldn't let my compassion ruin my day. Sometimes I would, but for the most part, I'd be like, well, that's just the way it is. It sucks, but I got to live my life and be okay. Be okay in this world. I think it's hard. I think it's harder for everyone now than ever, just watching watching how horrible things have gotten, and watching people suffer, and you feel guilty and you feel like you want to do something, but you also just have to keep existing. I was talking about some personal things, but I don't know that it was ever like helpful, or I don't feel like it was ever an avenue to a dialogue for us or anything. It was more, we'd more talk about it like what was a good idea for a song, like just what made sense artistically. She was someone that I always like would run everything by. Every idea I had, I would see what she thought of it, because she was the person I trusted more than anyone about my music. I felt like she got it, and also got music, in general. I met her when I was in high school, and she dated Brett Nelson. They lived in Twin Falls, and I moved up to Boise, and so I met her through him, but we were always really close. And so she was like one of the 10 fans of Farm Days, me and Brett's old band. We were teenagers in high school. We had a band called Farm Days, and we lived in different cities, but we'd get together once in a while and make songs. And so she knew my music well from the get-go. After we made this record, I was going to switch up the lineup, but I just loved playing with these guys. I loved hanging out with them. And I also had just a different idea about what I wanted the band to be, and I wanted the band to get really good and be like a proficient band where we all grew together and became, just super tight and really had a sound that was us. And these were the guys I wanted to do that with. And then I also wanted to collaborate with them. This record, I'd shown them all the songs, but I wanted to make some music where they were writing their own parts, because I thought a lot of the bands that I thought were good at that time were doing that, like Modest Mouse, Unwound and stuff, where they'd go into a jam room and, everyone would contribute to the music equally. And that's what we did. We made Keep It Like a Secret, which was very much based on us all jamming together a bunch. And then there's a big circus ending. For some reason, we made some circus music at the end. At the time, I thought it was killer, but, maybe it's a little bit like that funk part. And I don't know about funk music and circus music and stuff. I like the part where we sound like the Velvet Underground. That's what I think. That's what I wish that I had done with my whole career, was made stuff that sounded more like that, and not made these sort of musical decisions that were just sort of weird directions that I just don't care much about these days. When the record came out, I don't really remember how I was feeling. I don't remember. I think I mostly felt like I was just moving on to the next batch of songs. We'd already started writing Keep It Like a Secret songs and writing together as a band. And I remember being really excited about that, and not really thinking much about Perfect From Now On anymore. And yeah, when we toured right after the record came out, we did none of the songs, 0 of them. I just didn't have it in me. I just didn't want to at all. Like, none of it sounded any fun at all. But mostly, I just didn't want to hear those songs again. I was so burnt out after making that record. And, you know, I was burnt out on it, but at the same time, I was proud of it, you know. And, you know, like I said, everyone that I worked with was great, and there's no way I could have done it without Phil. He was incredible. I mean, he's such a good producer, and I trust him so much with making things sound good and his musical ideas. And he was also just really supportive and really, like, enthusiastic. And he was like me too, you know. We had some points where we were just like, he was as done as I was, as burnt out. You know, he'd never done anything like this before either. He'd never spent this much time on a record or done a major label record either. So we were both, you know, had a lot of burnouts. But, you know, he cheered me on through the whole thing and really supported me and was enthusiastic about it. The very end of it, I'm trying to think of the name of that song. The song that was left off the record. And when we were mixing the record, and we finally got everything mixed, and I was like, what about whatever that last song was called? And he's like, oh man, I don't want to do that. And we kind of got in a fight because at the very end of it, because I was mad at him for not wanting to just, like, you know, muscle through this very last song. When we finished the record, the thing that meant the most to me about the record was I came away from it thinking that I could make a record no matter what. That no matter how hard it was or, you know, whatever challenges, that in the end it could get done. And that was something I don't think I knew for sure when we started it. Mostly it was like just doubts about whether or not I'm really a musician, you know? Like, this might not be my calling or a job for me, you know. This might be just harder than what I'm capable of. And, you know, maybe I can make, you know, some punk rock records or make some home recordings and stuff, but I don't think I really am, like, cut out to be a professional musician, you know. And by the end of it, when it was done, I was like, oh yeah, I can be a professional musician. I can do this. Because I had a real strong confidence. Like, if we just work super hard and you just keep going, and when you don't want to do it, you just keep doing it, you can, you know, I can do this. And that was like a real thing, like a really empowering thing for me, finishing that record. Like I said, I don't really look back at it very often, but just sitting here now, looking back at it a bunch, I feel really proud of it. You know, it's like, you know, getting feedback from people like you that enjoyed it means a lot to me, you know, really that's what makes me proud of it, is that people enjoy it, you know. And, you know, over the years, people have told me how much they like it, and, you know, I don't know, I just feel really, really lucky for that. Because it just as easily, I wouldn't be surprised at all if just no one really cared about it, or it was, you know, a fine record or whatever. So just the fact that some people really like it is unbelievable to me, you know.